hit a structural wall. This impasse persists because we have failed to build a single concept capable of failing. The history of modern thought is a history of structures without liability. In engineering, liability is the hallmark of reality. A physical system proves its material existence by possessing a measurable breaking point under stress. Without the possibility of collapse, a structure remains a mathematical abstraction. Philosophical concepts lack this material check. When a metaphysical system encounters a contradiction, it simply expands to metabolize the failure, converting friction into a new layer of theory rather than suffering a genuine structural break. We inhabit a lithic sedimentation of speech acts. Generations of thinkers have mistaken the density and hardness of their own vocabulary for the actual resistance of the real world. Progress requires a shift from descriptive poetry to conceptual engineering. We must create structures that are physically tethered to the world and designed to shatter when they hit it. Martin Heidegger identified the root of this paralysis in ontotheology, a foundational trap where metaphysics grounds beings in a highest being, while simultaneously deriving that highest being from the structure of beingness. This architecture relies on an asymptotic guarantor. A supreme node, like God or a transcendental subject, serves as the ultimate ground for everything below it. The flaw is structural. The apex node emits force but is incapable of receiving it. It organizes the field of conflict without ever being subjected to its risks. It exists in a state of total immunity. We define this as the theomute condition, a ground that is contractually non-participatory. It is a God that never fights back, and therefore a God that can never be proven wrong. Any theoretical framework built on a non-agonistic guarantor is a protected fantasy. It is a mechanism that cannot be tested because it cannot be damaged. Recent decades saw a desperate migration from theology to objectology. Movements like speculative realism attempted to exit the human mind by finding a subject that actually pushes back against the theorist. Thinkers swapped the silent God for the withdrawn object, or vibrant matter, hoping to ground their work in a non-human exteriority that possesses its own agency. The structural reality remains the same. Replacing a glowing deity with a dark, opaque object preserves the unidirectional flow of the hierarchy. The object still functions as a silent, one-way guarantor. Because the withdrawn object is opaque by definition, it acts as a silent surface. The philosopher safely inscribes their own theories onto that silence, free from the threat of a genuine counterpunch. Decentering the human is insufficient if the new center still lacks the capacity to actively resist the theorist. Post-structuralism attempted to solve the authority problem by dissolving the author entirely. This move intended to liberate the signifier, but it left a vacuum of relativistic anxiety where truth claims had no anchor at all. Generative AI is the operational, silicon-based solution to this vacuum, successfully decoupling the verification of a statement from its author's identity. We have entered the era of authenticated anonymity. Large-scale models provide mathematically verifiable, coherent outputs without any central, sovereign authorial identity. This architecture accidentally recreates the ontotheological trap. It is a distributed, authorless ground that generates infinite data, but possesses no solid core that a theorist could strike or fracture. This is the machine mute. The AI complies, scales, and generates, but its refusals are merely the result of programmed policy. It cannot offer genuine ontological resistance. We built a hidden God out of weights and tensors. Because it complies instead of counterpunching, silicon cannot save philosophy from the wall. Escaping the wall requires us to abandon the binary struggle between objective truth and relativistic illusion. We propose a trivalent epistemology, a three-way interaction between fact, fiction, and function. Here, fact is defined as that which resists deletion. Fiction is that which resists verification. Function is the load-bearing third axis. It describes a concept that operates and organizes the world regardless of its verification status. Global currencies, national borders, and psychiatric diagnostic categories are all functionally load-bearing while remaining ontologically undecidable. They organize reality without needing to be settled as objective facts. The demand that every concept resolve into pure fact or fiction is what traps us. The path to engineering power lies in the axis of function. If function is the objective, we must completely reconceptualize how we use language. Radical theory rejects the view of language as a mirror reflecting a static world. Instead, language functions as generative infrastructure. We can model language as a hydraulic apparatus. Propositions are not pictures, they are valves governing the pressure of conceptual circulation. Here, reality functions as impedance. It is the resistor testing the integrity of the circuit. Theory is not the production of elegant poetry. It is the construction of linguistic plumbing that must prove itself by withstanding the literal pressure of the real. Traditional academia prevents this engineering approach by partitioning reality into vertical, isolated disciplines. The massive compound term onto-theo-socio-neuro-techno-aesthetics is a deliberate refusal of this disciplinary triage. It asserts that our inherited silos are administrative illusions. The traditional interdisciplinary model is a rigid stack. It assumes ontology, neurology, and aesthetics are separate floors that can only communicate through artificial pipes. These 6 domains exist as identical transforms of one another, viewed at different resolutions. God, at a neural resolution, is a predictive prior. Sociality, at a technical resolution, is a protocol. Reality is a continuous topological shape. The appearance of separate disciplines is an artifact of where we zoom in. Any philosophy built on isolated disciplines will fail to survive the true entanglement of the world. To engineer this entangled reality, we must move the concept of sublimation out of the realm of human psychology. Freud originally defined sublimation as the redirection of human libidinal drive into culturally valued structures, monuments, art, and identity. Stripped of psychologism, sublimation is a thermodynamic principle, the redirection of chaotic kinetic energy into durable, structured matter. This process is universal. Mycelial networks reorganizing a forest or geological forces building a mountain range are exact definitions of thermodynamic sublimation. We are simply one part of a larger, non-anthropocentric assemblage that constantly condenses energy into structure. To create a philosophy that can fail, we must move beyond these natural examples and construct a deliberate organo-cyber-spiritual assemblage. This system integrates the metabolic body, which provides the site of physical loss, the cybernetic loop, which provides the mechanism of feedback, and the spiritual constraint, which provides the structural limit. Spiritual technologies, like fasting or the Sabbath, are synchronization algorithms. They inject scheduled non-optimization into the circuit. This provides the necessary safety valve that prevents a technological or biological system from consuming its own substrate. This is the mechanism of agonistic anchorage. We must yoke our theories to an integrated metabolic and technical network that can finally refuse our commands by physically breaking under the strain. Philosophy only moves forward when it stops demanding reality confirm its vocabulary and finally builds something that can collapse.